So Matt Walls is with me this morning, and I've invited Matt to just fill us in really with community grocery that Message Wales are running and starting off. So Matt, I just want to welcome you. Thanks for taking the time. And where I like to start, Matt, if you just give a little introduction of yourself and possibly as well just a little bit of a snapshot of Message Wales as a charity before we look at the specific community grocery. Would that be okay?
Yeah, great. Wonderful. Lovely to be here. So, yeah, my name's Matt, married to Ruth, got two wonderful boys and live down here, based in Cardiff, originally from Mid Wales. And I have the privilege of leading what we call Message Wales. So to give you that kind of snapshot, Message Wales originally started as Ignite. It was a Christian-run charity here for 30 odd years. And then it merged with the Message Trust, which is based in Manchester, about 7 years ago. And I've been running it for the last 5 years or so.
Okay, wow. Okay. Sorts of things Message Wales does, Matt, can you just give us a glimpse of that?
Yeah, so we are a Christian charity, which our primary focus is the gospel. So we are all about wanting to share Jesus with people who don't know Jesus and reaching out to and going to the places where people are most likely to be, where they wouldn't necessarily have those opportunities to hear about Jesus. So we have a particular focus towards young people and hard to reach communities or some of those kind of more deprived areas across the nation. So what that looks like is all sorts of different projects that we manage in different ways. We have full-time prisons ministry in some of the prisons here in Wales. We have a full-time schools outreach ministry, delivering lessons, delivering bands coming and doing performances. We have Christian gigs. We have events with the bands. We have other kind of youth events. We look after Cardiff street pastors here in Cardiff as well. We have a double-decker bus, which is like a mobile youth centre that can go out into the community. And we have community groceries, and we have Eden. Lots of different things. I could just keep throwing words at you, couldn't I? But basically, we're all about just trying to find different ways to reach people and connect with people where they're at. And once you're in that place where you can relate to people on their level, being able to then bring and share the gospel in those contexts. And all of that is done in the framework of partnering closely with local church, because we want those people who hear about Jesus to go, oh, what do I do next? Well, let's link you into your church in your community. So yeah, it's a roller coaster, different every week, but it's such a joy, such a fun to be part of such an amazing ministry.
Excellent. And as the one who leads Message Wales, you've got a full diary then, haven't you? Really, with all those things.
Yeah.
Because it's a big responsibility, and sort of just having that oversight of each and every one of those. So yeah, great. Community grocery, because this is a new thing in Wales, not new in the bigger sort of Message organization and charity, but in Wales it's new, isn't it? Give us a sense, Matt, if you would, of what a community grocery is about. Would you explain that?
Yeah. So I'll take you on a journey, because as I say, we're a gospel-centered charity. We're not a food charity. That was never what we set out to be, but in God's timing and his plans, that's become one of the latest tracks of what we do. And it all really started back in COVID. So in Manchester, where the Message is based, we employ prison leavers and other people from disadvantaged backgrounds, and we have a cafe and we have different centres there. And COVID obviously shut down everybody's workplaces, and we felt we can't have these guys on furlough. We need to kind of get them involved and get them busy and doing things. And we had kitchens. So long story short, we started bringing people in. They would create food, create meals, and then we would start delivering them into the community. So we started taking food to the people who needed it. And over that kind of COVID period, I think we delivered something like 60,000 meals into the community around Manchester, which was amazing, but not a long-term plan. And so that is what kind of grew and then switched into how do we do this long term in a sustainable way, and the community grocery idea was formed. So what a community grocery looks like is it's somewhere between a food bank and a supermarket.
Okay.
So it's not the emergency aid, the emergency need that you can get from a food bank situation, but neither is it a full-blown supermarket experience where you can buy everything. It's kind of fits in the middle. So
Okay.
what happens is we've partnered with local churches, and we've opened these stores all around the country. They look fantastic. They look kind of like a bit of a farm shop feel to them, and members can come to the shop. Everything is laid out on the shelves, so it is a full-on kind of shop experience. And for £5, for example, they can collect a whole number of items from the shelves that they choose themselves, and they can typically get £25 worth of food for a £5 shop, which is if you're
Amazing.
food insecurity, you're kind of short on finance, and we're deliberately putting these groceries into those areas, in those kind of more deprived communities, in those areas where there is real need. And so we're deliberately putting these groceries into those communities and providing that space where people can come and get the relief. But as I say, food is not our priority. Yes, we're called, Jesus says to feed the poor, and we will always have the poor with us, and we want to be responsive and compassionate, but really we also want people to know Jesus. So what the groceries really are doing is they are providing a bridge, if you like, a link between local communities and local churches. They're providing a safe space where people can come in and feel welcome, feel part of something. They've got dignity. They can select stuff as and when they want. They can come as often or as little as they want. But what we're finding is these groceries are safe places. They're Christian-run places where we are able to be evangelistic, if you like. We're able to offer to pray with people and talk about faith in these groceries. That's not something we have to kind of juggle around the sensitivities of, because they are in churches. They're run by churches. And people do come to the groceries and say, oh, it feels different here. There's something different about this place. And what we're seeing then is, because they're not just customers in a shop. They are members. They're people that we have relationship with. Everyone is served by a member of staff and helped with their shopping. So it's not, this supermarket faceless experience. And so we're building connections with people. And then from that, the other thing that the groceries will do is we'll always provide all sorts of courses and opportunities, and we're encouraging our members to go on a journey. So they come in for the food, they build relationships and connections, they go on courses, and what we are seeing is invariably people are joining churches, people are getting saved, people are getting baptized, and we're seeing what we hope is real community transformation, because we were able to offer somebody food at an affordable price. It's amazing, and it's incredible to be part of.
That's great, amazing. And you've explained that you target various areas where this sort of need is required. The poorer areas, possibly. So would I be right to think that anybody can come to this shop, to the community grocery? Can anybody come?
Yeah, absolutely anybody, and anybody does. And let's face it, we have people who are teachers, who are nurses, who all sorts of people who are coming, and just because they've got what we would perceive to be, good jobs, doesn't mean that they're not struggling financially. We still are in a bit of a financial crisis. It's not talked about so much, but we absolutely want it to be something that is accessible to everyone.
Tell us a little bit about these courses that you offer, because as you've explained, the community grocery is a sort of a bridge to introduce people really to the gospel. It's an introduction, isn't it? They come to meet the guys that are working there. There's an opportunity to be prayed for, and then you can sort of offer them courses that they can sort of take things further. What sorts of things do you offer them?
Yeah, and that, that's one of the beautiful things. We'll have hundreds of members in any one grocery store, and some of them will engage on different levels, and that's perfectly fine. But it's about providing those opportunities and making it as easy as possible for people to meet Jesus. That's what we're trying to do. So the courses, most of them, they're not new. They're nothing revelationary. It's just kind of combining things that are already happening and kind of putting it into the kind of grocery stream, if you like. So more often than not, we will offer things like the CAP courses, the kind of debt money advice courses. We have people who sometimes will deliver cookery classes. We have people who will come in on the day of the cookery class, and they'll get food from the shelves that were currently stocked, and then teach the people how to cook a healthy, nutritious meal with the food that's available, which is great because they can come to the class, cook a great meal, and then they can go and buy the stuff and do it for themselves at home, which is great. Some of it's just what the volunteers and what's available. So we might have people who are running art courses or book clubs. In Swansea at the moment, we've been running just a cake and conversations session. So, things that churches are doing, in all places, but it's just helping people. I think the idea of coming to a church, as we understand it, can be a barrier, just even cross over the threshold of the door, or just mentally, I don't want to go into that space.
Yeah.
Come into a shop, that's okay. And then being introduced to these other things that are happening. Oh, okay. And you're going to be there. Great. I'll come because I know you. It just seems to make a difference. And then, of course, we'll also offer, alpha courses or, courses to explore Christianity and things like that. I'm really excited. We're just, we're in December now, and we're going to be doing a cake and carols in our Swansea grocery, which is great. We've had a box in the grocery where people can vote for what their favorite carols are. So hopefully they'll come and we'll be singing the popular carols that they enjoy. It's just a way of saying, this space, this is for you, this is for the community, and to kind of make them feel that they can come in and feel safe in that space. So whatever courses they go on, there's always a what next. There's always loving Christian people there who are helping them along the journey and pointing them to Jesus.
Yeah, I tell you what I love about this. It's a tool to sort of help bring people into church and to be introduced to church, which is the people. But it also provides that compassion and that service to people as well. So it's got both sides of it, hasn't it? Really, your first one in Wales is in Swansea. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we opened it in July.
In July, okay. So, I appreciate it's still early days then, Matt, but just give us a feel of how things are going there, would you?
Yeah, so if you are in Swansea or know the area, the grocery is in Port Tennant. Port Tennant was historically the estate where people who worked in the docks used to live. And then over time, of course, the docks have stopped. So there's, lots of people who are suddenly unemployed. But also the way that Swansea's built itself up, there's now a kind of main dual carriageway that kind of cuts right into the city and cuts off Port Tennant from really the rest of the city. So it feels like this estate that is kind of a bit forgotten and a bit on the sidelines. And so we're really glad that was where we were able to put our first community grocery in Wales. We're partnering with a wonderful church there called St. Thomas Church, which is a church in Wales church, but our groceries are with denominations all over the country. It's going really well, actually. We've had, about 4 or 5 months into it opening, and each time someone comes to the grocery, we sign them up as a member so that we have their details and we can inform them of courses, etc., that are coming up. And we already have, I think it's just over or just about 500 members signed up to that already. Now, that's not 500 people coming every single week.
No.
If you just imagine as a church ministry, if you're saying, how do we have something that impacts our community? How do we have connection with that many people?
Yeah.
And good number of them regularly coming into our building and connecting with us. It almost feels like a no-brainer in that sense. It's such a wonderful open door. And it's not just for people in Port Tennant, people from all over Swansea and the surrounding area have heard about it and are coming in. But some of our stores, this is new with 500 members. Some of the stores that we have around the country have got over 2,000 members now. I think the one in Manchester has even more than that. And it's just incredible to see. We're at the start of that journey, but we're having such a huge impact on the community. I hope.
Yeah, amazing. It sounds amazing. Like you say, to have contact with that many people in such a short period of time. It's amazing. To stock the shop, where do you get the food from?
Yeah, so in the early days, it was there was I think during COVID, post-COVID, there was an awful lot of food provision and being set up, and actually, so many people started applying for all this kind of like surplus food that it ended up being not enough to go around, and I think everyone's had to shift their model. So we still do get some food from local supermarket donations. We still get food from Fair Share and things like that. But because we've gone from one grocery 4 years ago, we now have 24 groceries currently. I think we've got another 4 or 5 that are due to open in the next year or so. Okay. And so what that has meant is almost by accident, the Message has become the second largest food provider in the country.
Has it?
So to Pine Trussell Trust, we're now the second largest food provider in this kind of way,
and in a relatively short time as well, isn't it?
Yeah, incredible. And so we now have our own warehouse, and we speak directly to the distributors, the suppliers, the makers. So we'll go to someone like Warburton's and say, hey, can you give us 200 loaves of bread free, please, every day? And they will. Or some food we will need to buy in on that kind of scale, but we're able to do it on a scale now where we can buy in the food, bring it into the central warehouse, and then distribute it across the network. So I know I'm talking about it like the business strategy side of things, which is important.
Yeah, but
that's what's enabled us to be able to be in all these places and have the level of impact that we're having, because it really just feels like God has just moved on this and done something incredible that none of us really were planning or thinking of 4 or 5 years ago. But here we are seeing lives changed on a weekly, if not daily basis.
Yeah, it's big, isn't it? Really.
Yeah,
I am familiar with community grocery, but I wasn't sort of aware that it's this huge now in a relatively short period of time. So, as you look at Swansea now, is there anything over the past few months that has stood out for you regarding, say, a good news story? Somebody has been blessed, or they've come into the shop and they've been taken up. Anything stand out to you that you can share with us that would encourage people, really, how well this is helping meeting needs in the community there? Anything?
As I say, it still feels a little bit early days. I mean, we have some wonderful connections. We have some wonderful families who come in almost on a weekly basis now and bring food to the grocery. Like, they make cakes and they make desserts and they bring them to the staff as a way of just saying thank you so much for this being here. And that speaks volumes, doesn't it? Because it just shows how people are valuing the place that we've created. I mentioned we've got our cake and carols coming up, and I think for me that's going to be the real litmus test. That is going to be the marker of, has the grocery been accepted by the community, or are we just kidding ourselves with numbers? Is it actually a place where people feel like it's their space? So that's yet to come. It's very soon, but we're really kind of pressing into that. But I mean, good news stories. I mean, even we have some staff. We have 2 members of staff who are employed to kind of help run the grocery, but the rest of it is staffed by volunteers. And even actually some of the good news stories, just seeing some of those volunteers and the steps they're taking in their journeys of faith. We have a wonderful lady who's been coming, who's not a Christian, and is kind of at that point of like, maybe this is for me. We have people who are volunteers who've decided to get baptized since they've started with us. Not saying it was all down to us, but just to be again
part of that journey.
That we're part of that journey with them. And I think it is a good news story. But the other thing that has happened and does happen is people come into the store with their problems, with they're going through something tough. Unfortunately we had a lady on the phone who just found out as she was on the phone that a close relative had just died. And to be there in those moments and to be able to support people and help people and pray with people, that's the stuff. That's what really is making a difference. And if I can kind of go beyond Swansea for a minute, what we're hoping, as I say, we're still new, but what we have seen in some of the other stores is that as people go on that journey and do the courses and kind of connect into the church, we're seeing churches have grown and grown and grown to the point where they have more people coming in from the community who weren't Christians or weren't previous churchgoers, outnumber the original congregation.
Amazing.
And so that's, my hope and prayer for Swansea is that we're at the start of that journey, and we're going to see a real transformation, not just for the community, but the church as well, as people are added to the body of Christ.
Because that's the vision, really. That's the vision.
That's why we do it. That's why
community
we do.
transformation. Yeah. So, for people who would want to get in touch with you, Matt, and I can see sort of possibly two groups of people wanting to get in touch with you. Those who are listening to this will want to consider sowing financially into this project. Okay. So how would they get in touch with you? And people who just want to get in touch with you for more information as far as, okay, how do I start this in my community, and how do they get in touch with you for either of those sort of reasons? Matt, can you share?
Yeah, I mean, info@messagewales.org is our general email address. Anyone can get in touch about any questions there, and we'll help you out.
Yeah.
They can obviously go on our social media. We're on all the social media as Message Wales, or Swansea Community Grocery has its own Facebook page if you want to check that out. But as you say, what we need is, if you're local to Swansea, feel free to come and sign up, become a member. We need volunteers to come and work in the store. Please come and volunteer with us. If you're a church in another part of Wales and this sounds interesting to you, get in touch. We would love to open more stores in partnership with more churches around the country. And yeah, financially, right now, as we're filming this, we've got a kind of national campaign, which is on the message trusts on all of our social media about kind of providing food. So almost like give a £5 to pay for a meal, and that's kind of raising money for our community grocery network. So that might be something you can kind of find online. But otherwise, as I say, just come to the Message website, messagewales.org, and just get in touch. There'll be buttons there where you can click. But we'd love to hear from you. If you want to or support or know more, please.
Excellent. And I'll put some details in the description and probably on the screen as well. Okay. Tell you what I was thinking, Matt, as I was listening to you, and I was asking you about good news stories. And yes, there are good news stories. Okay. Just the fact that you've been able to set it up to meet the need of the community is a good news story.
Yeah.
But behind the good news stories of actually getting to where you've got, there's been a lot, particularly for yourself and the family and the team. It's been a lot of graft and challenges and hard work that people don't see. So what we're talking about is the shop window in a way, isn't it, of what Message Wales are doing here. But there's a lot of hard work gone in and challenges in the background that people will never see. So I just feel, Matt, I want to honor you for that, really, and the whole team, for everything, all the effort that you guys have put in to get to this place that nobody will ever see. So I just want to honor you for that, because I'm very aware of it, very aware of that. I don't know what it is, but I'm just very aware that there's a lot of graft gone into getting to this place, really, of being able to open this store. Okay, so I honor you and the team for that. So listen, I'm going to let you have the last word if you want the last word. Is there anything else that that's on your heart that you want to share that we've not covered before we go?
No, I mean, I would just say, to encourage anyone watching this, whether it's a community grocery or some other model, that the heartbeat behind all of this is the more that we fall in love with Jesus, the more that our heart bursts and breaks for the people around us. And so, you don't have to have this particular model to reach out to people. I would say to everyone, we're all called, aren't we? We're all commissioned to be carriers of the good news of the gospel and to take people on a journey to introduce them to Jesus. So, my last word would be, whoever you are, whatever you're doing, make sure you're sharing Jesus in your context.
Excellent. I can't say any better than that. So, Matt, thank you very much. Okay. And, it'd be great to catch up at some stage, see how this is going, and maybe even some of the other projects that Message Wales are involved in. Okay. But for now, thanks, Matt. God bless you, mate. Bye.